Guys, Ben Travovic here from the Manly Seagulls. The SuperCoach Experience podcast is one of the best podcasts going around, boys. Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I just want to say, what a podcast. Go the Mighty Eagles.
Hey lads, Ewan Aiken here from the New Zealand Warriors. Hope you have a big year with the SuperCoach Experience podcast.
Got the ball to Sims, it's down To'o! It's gone in again! What a pass!
Hello and welcome to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Savage, the coach of the Savage Turbos, and I'm joined here by my trusty co-host, Tim Moody. How are you, Tim?
Very good, thank you, mate.
And we got Mikey over the phone. How are you, Mikey?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back on. How are you?
Yes, very good. Yes, we are here at Panthers again. We'll try and make it a lot better than the last episode. But for those listening in the audio, which most of you probably are, to be honest, Mikey, how did you go on the weekend? Obviously no SuperCoach, but how did you go with the trials? What was your big take from the weekend?
Yeah, I watched maybe half of the games and bits and pieces, and then obviously had a look at some of the stats and that afterwards. But yeah, really, really excited for a lot of the potential cheapies coming through the grades. I think there will be quite a few mid-season options. I'm sure COVID's going to throw spanners in the works, and we'll see a lot of these guys later in the year. But I think the main thing is like how Broncos are shaping up. I've had Sul and Cobbo for nearly all of the preseason, and they really just solidified picking him in my side. Tom played great in that small stint, but I'm sure we'll talk about that. But kind of looks like we're going to get a lot more mid-rangers come up, so I'm excited. I always bang on about middies in the preseason, and to now see it's going to be viable and a good way to stack your side with, one of Cleary or Tom. It's going to be an interesting start to the year for sure.
100%. There is a lot of mid-ranges out there now, and I'm trying to fit them all in. Obviously, you can't fit them all in, but there is so many options. Tim, how did you find the weekend of footy? I know I was pretty vocal saying the trials are pretty... they're not that great to watch. It's good to see the young talent coming up, but I feel like the last weekends of trials was not a great indication for certain things, but this week will be a very much stronger indication. But there were players like Maverick Geyer on the weekend who really stood out. Yeah,
I mean, it's great to see MG's young boy get out there and rip and tear and just, I think, score off his second touch. It was a great try too. I think he was about 20, 30 metres out when he sort of got the ball and just sort of hit a mad line. And he just looked like a beast. He just looked like he had those Vaughny legs going on with the short shorts, you know what I mean? He looked like an animal. Really excited about him when he finally gets his nod. Other than that, the vibe I got was there was a lot of young fellas out there. There was a lot of, 30 on 30 teams and stuff like that. So everyone was getting an opportunity. So it's kind of hard to get a good basis on even the SuperCoach players, how good they look, because they're playing against people they're not going to be playing against, week after week in NRL. So, but, just to sort of get a bit of an idea of eye test and sort of who's passing those, I think that's a good thing for the trials. You can see who's like, is Max King from the Doggies, wasn't sort of in my radar. He was very, very busy. He sort of put his hand up sort of to say, I want to be in this starting 17. So I think he's going to be a pretty handy pickup at bottom dollar too. I've slot him into my side.
Yeah, I feel like this weekend of trials really, it makes you sure about certain players that you have. Mikey, who stood out for you on the weekend?
There's quite a few players that did stand out. I did watch very heavily in that Penrith game, and based off the fact that these trials, or the way I've just had a look at the team they've named, Tago was very good. I really like the look of Tago. I think he's almost solidified that centre spot. He'll be heavily owned. Also, everyone's hoping Taylor May gets that spot. But based off the way he performed last weekend, Rob Jennings actually played very good. When Rob Jennings has actually been named to start on that wing. Yes, Staines is in fullback, but he could be a shock surprise starting on that wing, and he's at 229K. If Noah Ivan Cleary will probably go someone that's got a bit more experience and blood Taylor May later in the year. So I think, Penriths are going to be a close watch. The Broncos, I thought Billy Walters was pretty good. I know we'd all rather Ezra Mam get named. Also like the look of Tuolagi. Even if he starts on the bench, man, I really like him as an option just because it looks like, he's just always going to be looking for a try on that edge. It's just really dangerous. And just lastly, I was really impressed with Alosi Katoa as well. If he starts in that edge spot, I'm all over him. And, also Xavier Coates looks like he's put on a bit of muscle, and I've had to reconsider him. He looked excellent next to Munster. I think he'll be last year's Reeman Smith, where he'll just, might not be very consistent, but he'll have some big scores in him just on the back of he'll be scoring a lot of meat pies.
It's quite a good comparison, Remus Smith, because I see Xavier Coates, that's probably what he's going to be at his probably near best. Remus Smith, what he produced last year, it was good at the start, not great, but then he kicked on and had some big scores that really helped out Timmy. And
I think
Timmy's
they're very different football players, and I think they're going to have it. I think Xavier Coates has got way more upside than Remus has got in him, because he's a very strong finisher. He's on a wing, he's not in the centres, so I think, I think Coates will be way more relevant. I think it was, Remus was sort of like someone that got me 30s or 50s or something like that. There was never anything great. There was maybe one decent score in there, but I think you could sort of expect him to do at least what the Fox did, plus a little. I think plus a little bit more. I think.
Yep. Yeah, agree. So I guess that moves us on to the hot topics. This is what today's episode is going to be, the hot topics. We're going to speak about the burning issues of the Supercoach world in the last week. And number one on top of the list, I'm going to start with you, Mikey. Tommy Trbojevic. I see a lot of sides pulling their sides apart to get him in. And I'm even seeing sides with Tommy Turbo and Nathan Cleary. What is your thought on Tommy Turbo, and are people crazy for ripping their parts aside and getting him in as a must-have?
No, I don't. But it's weird that before the trial match, we see Tommy was at 12% and he's gained 3% after that trial match. So that's a massive jump, and I think you can't just base it off that. It's a horrible Tigers outfit. The Manly, yes, they may be playing the Bulldogs in round 3, but they got a tough first 2 rounds. I'm personally not getting tempted by Tom. I'm happy for people to do it. He's got that huge ceiling, but if the other people I've picked can still do a job for me in my side, I think that you can have a way more well-balanced side without Tom, and especially Tom and Cleary. I'm seeing a lot of people rely on bottom dollar players getting picked, and there's not that many. With all the mid-ranges involved, I think you can get a really balanced side, still get quite a few guns in your side, but balance it out in a way where it's going to be COVID this year. The season's going to be a bit different. You need to have more than just 17 good plays. You're going to have about 20 where you can chuck in 1, 2 or 3 blokes not in your starting 17 every now and then to get your 40 to 50. And I feel like if you go the Tom and Cleary route, like both of them, or even just Tom, you're not going to have as strong as a side as someone that doesn't. But at the same time, if Tom keeps popping off 200s, then it's going to be tough. But I personally don't see it happening, and I'm going to live and die by that sword. So I'm nervous. If Nathan Cleary doesn't get named, I might consider switching my side around. But if I think Cleary's going to be back round 2, I might do the double hold and just wait and see.
On that, what you were saying there first, Mikey, was about the 3% ownership rise since the trial. I don't think that's so much based on what he did in that trial. I think that's got more to do with the news on Pappy maybe not getting the start because of he's got a dodgy ankle or whatever. So I think other people are just trying to find, if I don't have Pappy, am I going straight to Tom? Because who's the next best option? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they're trying to make a side.
I think it's a majority of all those reasons.
I did that myself.
I made a side with
Tommy in it, and I've since swapped it back out. But yeah, look, I think he could. I think you could go either way with it. The thing is, right, if you start with Turbo and you captain him, he's going to have a tough 2 first games, but he's still Tommy Turbo. He's still going to get involved. He's still going to score probably at least 80 for you, minimum, against the toughest sides. I think so.
No, it really depends on how he comes back against the stronger sides this year. Obviously, I'm not expecting any of the strong sides to come out and absolutely fire. However,
I'm expecting the Roosters to come out and go bang.
But Tommy Turbo, I'm not sure if he's going to do them 150-plus scorers against these kind of sides.
I think you can...
Yeah, Penrith... Yeah, go Tim.
No, go Mikey.
Yeah, I was going to say that with Tom as well, his first round, he scored 68 against the Panthers last year, especially if Cleary's in there. They seem to figure... I think a lot more teams are going to figure him out. He's still Tom, and he's still going to have a few breakaway scores. But if you're not starting with him, I definitely think he's going to be on your horizon at some point. So you're hoping that he doesn't keep up this extremely high average and come down, and then you can make a jump to him later. With all these mid-ranges, I think it'll be very hard to get them all right. So I'm going to see potential to also make a bit of money and downgrade if I need to. Where people are saying if you don't start with him, it's going to be very hard to get with him. It's not impossible. I think there'll be a way to win if your theories are right and you're picking plays based on your theories and stats.
Lads, we got some news in the other day that Ryan Papenhuyzen has a dodgy ankle, as Tim said before. Is he out of our sides at the moment, Tim?
Well, I traded him out just to see how I could make a side with Teddy and Turbo, and I didn't mind it. There was still looked quite thin, and I had to thin down in the props big time. So instead of having Payne Hassan, TPJ, I think I had Ethan Bullymore and someone else very, very, very bottom dollar that might not get a go. But then I've since been able to I've moved Turbo back out and I've pulled Pappy in. I'm just leaving it with, look, I don't know what's going to happen till TLT. I don't want to stress myself out too much about it, man. You know what I mean? It's the back and forth. It does get a bit of a minefield. But yeah, I think it's just going to have to be one of those wait and sees, and I think we'll just have to use the information we get and just make a pretty snap call on whether we're going to pick those players that might be out for a week or maybe 2 weeks. But I think I want to start. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to start with either like a Harry. I think I want all people that are on the field starting, ready to go, no mucking around.
Mikey, we saw the All-Stars game last week, and Dave Fafita went on an absolute tear.
I don't reckon he did.
No. Let me continue. Obviously, he picked up that rib injury and later in the game fell off a bit. Are you scared off him now that he has that lingering rib issue?
No, I'm not. He's the one of the few players that haven't left my side the entire time. His upside's too huge. I'm a guy that always starts with Crichton, but I'm going to take the punt on Fafita. If you're not going to have Tom, I've made sure I've ensured I've got other players in other positions with very high ceilings to make up a little bit of that gap.
I like that.
And Fafita is going to be huge. I get what you're saying, Sabs, and I get what Tim's saying. I don't think he absolutely killed it, but he showed us in a short time, no matter who he's versing, he's going to have those moments of brilliance, and that's a 30 to 40 point play in Supercoach. And there'll be games where he'll continually do that, and he'll get 150. Titans can score points no matter who they're versing, so the draw's not too bad. I think they can upset Parramatta first round, and then after that they have the Warriors in Canberra. I see Fafita getting off to a tough start, but we know what a rib injury is like. But it's not enough to scare me off him. If he goes down injured and he's out for 4 to 5 weeks, I'll use a trade and I'll get him down to someone else, and there's my ticket to Tom.
Timmy, is Fafita still in your side? Personally, I went a bit cold when I heard about the rib injury, and I heard it was lingering last season, what affected him late in the season. He's been named to start in the trial this week, so that's obviously good signs for him. But I've downgraded to Angus Crichton, who is 100k less, and I think the Roosters are going to start the season well. What are your thoughts on Fafita?
I've got Fafita and Crichton both in my side at the moment. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to have to pick between the two. I think Crichton's going to be super consistent. I think there's going to be a bit more upside just off, the back of a lot of good attack and just dominating sides. But then again, Fafita's that individualist, that bully that you just give him the ball and he does those crazy things that he does where he just palms off about 5 of them and then just runs to the side and scores over on the wing. On the wing. But yeah, look, if you could fit them both, then yeah, great. If I had to pick one or the other, I do agree with Mikey on the upside of Fafita. Does have those 150s in him, you know what I mean? So I do like that, but I'm a little bit nervous about him maybe coming off the bench or them giving him reduced minutes because of the rib thing, and then you're paying $745K for a guy that might only get 40 minutes. Like, what if that happens? And if he is only getting 40 minutes, maybe he's not going to be that impactful, even though he's in short stints because of the rib. I don't know. Are they going to needle him up from week 1? Like, do you want to start needling someone up from week 1?
I guess the fact that he's named in the trial this weekend to start, that's a very good sign.
We'll get a look at him. Yeah, that'll be. If he looks fine, he looks fine.
And I guess that stems on to Proctor was named at number 19, which means Bo Firma has. It looks like he's won the starting spot. Mikey, what are your thoughts on Bo Firma?
Yeah, you were onto him early, Sabs, and when you were onto him earlier, I had a look. He's been in and out of my side. I thought for a bit that Proctor news was false, but since seeing him in the trials, he's straight back in. He's actually my most expensive centre wing, because I've got Aiken in the second row. But yeah, I really like him. Like a lot of people saying he's a bit of a trap. I'm willing to take the risk because we've seen when he gets minutes, he scores a lot of tries. I think his attacking stats are pretty good. And same thing, we know the Titans have a lot of points in them. The key thing here is they're missing Jamal Fogarty this year. But at the same time, I see Toby Sexton, that he's not going to leave too much of a hole. I feel like he'll do really good. So I like Firma at the moment. 379, he's a dual. That works Firma really well with Ago. It also works really well with Aiken. So you can realistically, if you start, do a centre wing where you can put Firma and Aiken in there. And that's what we like, a second row in the centre wing spot. So, he's a buy. I can see some people just waiting and seeing.
I think the opportunities.
At this stage, I want to start.
The opportunities that he got last year, Mikey, I think he really looked exciting.
Yep.
He looked great in that.
He kind of looked like he was exactly what Dave Fafita was doing, except he was slotted right into that role, so it just worked perfectly for them.
Yeah, I really like the look of him. At that price too, I think that's great. If he's going to start, then that's someone you really want with a duel as well.
I guess we're speaking about second roles. Yeah, you continue. Yeah, it sounds like you've got something.
I was going to ask you a question. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think it's a problem having both starting second roles from the Titans if Firma starts? What do you reckon, Sab?
No. See,
think it's okay?
At this stage, I got both starting Roosters second rowers, so in Tupanua and Crichton. Arguably, that could be different because Roosters are an attacking force, but with so many superstars in the Roosters side, that could also be a negative, whereas the Titans, they've got a good draw, they've got young halves, they're going to look to David Fafita. David Fafita's going to get points regardless. Bo Firma, I think he played on the left last year, so it really depends. If he plays on the right, he kind of might be that guy who just be consistent and doesn't really attack much. But if he's on the left, who knows? I could be wrong.
I think he's got a lot of attack in him. I think he runs good lines.
Yeah, I agree with him.
I really think that there is upside for him. I think if he doesn't matter which side he's on, he'll be involved in it. He's not going to be a pedestrian. So at the price, I think you can have both of them. If he was more, if he was like 450K, I wouldn't be interested. But at sub 400, that's juicy.
I guess we've started at the second rows, and with our preseason podcast, we've done each position. But each position, it's all outdated now. Like we're pretty much going over the second row again right now. Ruben Cotter versus Bo Firma. Mikey, who are you taking?
Bo Firma. For just basically, I haven't liked what I saw from Cotter. I just haven't seen enough to really pick him. I don't think he could be a good option, but there's just a lot of question marks in this Cowboys side. Like we see the trial name this week, and they actually have a lot of interesting prospects that'll be on my radar, but I'm just going to pick one. But realistically, all those guys could be traps because we don't know how Lukey, Nanai, like we don't know Cotter, Taumalolo when he gets back from his injury. There's so many question marks. I think I'll take a punt on one, but I'd rather take a punt on Lukey or Nanai if they're both starting rather than Cotter. That 29,000 would be very vitally helpful.
I'm just trading out Lukey for Fermor as we speak. Live trade.
I 100% agree with you, Mikey. That's who I was going to stem on to next. Helam Lukey and Jeremiah Nanai. They're obviously both named. Is there any interest in either of them, or are they kind of a wait and see? Do you think they're going to build into the season?
Look, I think they could be a wait and see, but at this stage, I have one of them. I have Lukey at this stage. There is a lot of mid-ranger picks, and I'm just going to see, based on trials this week, who looks a bit better. There's also Wade Graham, who I'm kind of keen on. There's a lot of question marks, so I'm going to take a gamble on one of these guys, and if they don't work out, they can stem on to other. But Lukey, I'm picking just based off what he did last year. He's re-signed with the club, and I think he's only going to get better and better. Cowboys have a nice starting draw, man. Like, I know you might not think they can score a lot of points, but they start with Bulldogs, Canberra, Broncos. I can see him, potentially having some attacking stats. So I'm going to, I most likely will start with Lukey or Nanai. They have to start, obviously.
Mikey, you missed the Centre Wing podcast last week, and somehow I was talked into buying the Hammer. And he has not left my side. He's not left my side since I've got him in instead of Staggs at the moment, and I'm quite happy with it. But I think just my side, I want it to be template with only like 1 or 2 pods, but it's looking like I've got 4 or 5 pods. Timmy,
good workout, man.
Another half win. From punters jumping in early or waiting too late. You get a good price on one leg, but the others have shortened dramatically. You still win, but it feels like you half win. Introducing Top Sport's Best of the Best multi. Get top odds on every leg, every time. Don't be one of these. Just bet and forget with Bob Multi. Top Sport. Feel the excitement. Gamble responsibly.
What do you think of that, Mikey?
Look, I don't really, it could work out. I'm all for a fullback in the centre wing, but the reason I don't like it is because I really like Sloan. If you compare Sloan to the Hammer, people think Dragons won't score points. No, I don't think the Cowboys will score too much, but Sloan's, I just feel like he might score a bit more tries and be a bit more heavily involved. So I'd take Sloan over the Hammer.
Very good. Okay, so before we move on to the winners from the team list this week, Mikey, do you have some hot topics you want to go over?
No, I'm keen to jump into the winners, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to stem off a lot of the talk of players from that. But maybe just one quick one, actually. The dummy half position. With Kobe Hebrington, Corey Pakes. Could you see yourself, so I'll ask this to both of you, we'll start with Tim. Could you see yourself go on the double cheapy hooker, which has worked a lot in the past?
I've got that going right now, baby.
Do you think you should stick yourself with Marnie? Yeah, see, I personally have got Harry Grant. He hasn't left my side. I know Tim was about, a lot of points on round 1. I think I can field a strong 17 round 1. And if a lot of people go double cheapy hooker, I think Harry Grant.
I think a gun really hooker for me is someone I want to work my way up to. I don't think I want to start with a gun hooker. Fair. I don't think there's that much extra upside. I know Harry's, sort of a bit above the rest of them, and especially when he's, scooting around and, close to the line. He's quite crafty as well and setting stuff up. But I don't know. I just really feel that that's where I can save some money and get still, 40, 50 points. And there's a few people. At the moment, I've got Billy Walters and Randall, assuming that Walters gets the 5'8" spot.
Gets a nod, yeah.
Yeah. But I really liked Ezra Mann, what I saw from him, man. I thought that's really exciting. I think he's a risky player, but I think he's got a lot of X factor, and I think it'd be something that they should look at. But it's a tough one.
But the fact that Billy Walters has done so well in the preseason means they don't have to rush into him. So maybe it is a good thing that Billy Walters has got the spot. Mikey, are you considering? What is your tactic at the moment? You, in the first podcast of the year, you actually talked me into getting Reid Marnie, and he has not left my side since.
Yeah, I really like Reid Marnie, but Tim kind of talked me into Harry Grant back then, and I do think he's the number one hooker. I still think the Storms will be good, so I've chucked him in there. I'm not ruling out that I could potentially start with a double cheapy hooker, but I'm not convinced on the, I don't like the looks of Cotter. Pax and Hetherington have too many question marks of minutes. I'd rather take the punt and, go with a gun in that position. But, I don't hate. I think Reid Marnie I could go to if I need to shed 70K, depending on how the cheapies fall. And on Billy Walters, I've got him currently in my side. Just same thing, just to save 50K on Hastings. And there's a lot of question mark players, so I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But from what I've seen in the trials, I think Walters can get a few try assists to be a little bit undervalued. So, look, we're going to be taking a lot of punts in our sides, and I'm just going to roll with it.
With Randall at the
Newcastle Knights,
yeah. What sort of minutes do we think he's going to get? Now, everything I've heard about him is the fittest bloke at the club. That's all they say about him. He's the fittest bloke at the club. Is anyone they interview play, Randall, fittest bloke at the club. Do you think that being the fittest bloke at the club would mean that he would be more inclined to be able to play 80 minutes, or being that he's a new rookie that they'd want to ease him?
We know he can play 80 minutes. He broke the record in his first game for most tackles in a debut game, playing 80 minutes. But I have heard Mail he is playing. He's agreed to play like 50 or 60 minutes. Mikey, have you heard anything like that?
Yeah, no, that's what I think they'll do, just because I don't think they want to chuck all that on, a young hooker. They'll probably share his minutes. We'll see when they name the bench, but I definitely think there'll be a utility on there or someone that can fill in at hooker.
Phoenix
we know they could
Crossland.
even put Man in there. Yeah, he'll probably jump in there, but I'm 100% sold on Randall because he's got a good work rate. He makes a lot of tackles. And at 245K, I'm happy with 40 to 50 points. I think 50 points, and he's a safe play at the start. That's why I'm more than happy to carry someone like Harry Grant, because I can trust the honours to Chris Randall. If he's scoring low 40s, then Grant starts, and I don't have to play Randall. But if he's scoring 50 and above, I've got two hookers I can happily play, and that just gives your side a bit more depth. So I think those two work really nicely together.
Mikey, obviously we're talking about the hookers. Billy Walters is one that Tim's got in his side and looks like you've got in your side. But here's another one that I'll throw at you. Cody Nicarima is named at number 6 this weekend, and he looks like he's going to start at 5'8". He's currently in my side at the moment with a nice friendly draw for the first 5 games.
City.
Yeah, I know. It's all over the place. It's changed so much. Cody Nicarima, he looked good in the All-Stars game. He led the All-Stars to a win. What do you think of Cody Nicarima at number 9 for your Supercoach team?
I don't hate it. Realistically, when you just mentioned, I forgot Billy Walters was available at hooker. So I guess you could do a Randall Walters mix and then have Hastings in your half. So that could be a way to get to Tom. But I don't know about Nicarima. It's a bit of a risk. I do like the starting Warriors draw, but I think what personally turns me off is I've already got 3 Warriors, and there are so many Warriors this year that I'm keen and interested on, but I think you've just got to wait and see on a few of them. But Nicarima could be a great pop. We've seen what his ceiling can be like. That is key. They've got about 4 halves that can fill in, and if they don't start winning some of these easier games, you could say, or these opening games, you could see their team constantly getting flipped. It's the same worry I have with the Broncos, the Walters and that. All it takes is 3 losses, and they're going to blame the halves, and new halves will come in. That's what's concerning.
Yeah, I do kind of like what I saw from Nicarima on the weekend. Like last year when I decided to rush him out of my side, his body language just didn't look good on the side. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. I don't know if there was something going on or what. But just on the weekend, he really looked like, he had his chin up and he was putting his hand up to be involved, and he looked good. And I think that sometimes getting a 5'8" that's got a bit of attacking upside in them in a hooker spot could be quite handy for Supercoach as well. So I don't mind it. The only thing is the job security makes me a little bit nervous. I wouldn't want to have to be, panicking about what's going on as he get named week after week.
Yeah, I agree. But I think if he's named at number 6 to start the year, I mean, Nathan Brown could do anything, but I think that's an indication that they'll give him a bit.
So they're going to put Chanel Harris-Tavita at fullback.
He's
for
playing
a little bit.
fullback, until Reece Walsh comes back. But who knows?
But then does Chanel come over and take, Cody's spot at 5'8"?
I don't think so. I guess with the Warriors, Mikey, there was someone I was massive on last year who is in my side right now in the centre wing at 338k, Marcelo Montoya.
I love the crickets that just came in there. Yeah. We did need a moment of silence to just absorb that. Look, no, I think he gave him a bit of a shout last year as well. Look, he's a winger. Yeah, sure. He's handy. He scores a couple of tries.
I think he looked really good on the weekend, and with a preseason under his belt, I mean, the Warriors' left wing is typically an attacking force. Manu Vatuvei in the last few years. Ken Mamalo. I mean, I know I've been big on Dalawantini-Zelezniak, but I think I've been looking at the wrong side. Marcelo Montoya, I'm pretty sure he scored 2 tries on the weekend. I'll have a look at that. Mikey, what do you think of him? Or have you dropped out?
No, I'm here. Sorry, I'm here.
That's all right.
I don't hate it, but it's another kind of wait and see for me. I prefer Rocco Berry in the centres, who I think could have a bit better of a consistent scores. And he just looks like a player that's just going to get better and better and a long stay in that position. He's very similar price.
I just don't love
but
centres,
at the same
though,
time,
bro.
see, I sometimes do. I don't mind some base stat centres. And I feel like Rocco Berry could be a man. But, look, Montoya could be really good, but I personally don't have the balls to start with him. Like, there are so many centre wings. I know you would have covered it last week, but there are so many centre wings, that you could purchase. You could run 4 centre wings in your 300k market. Like, there is a lot of options. Like, realistically, you can really make up some ground in the centre wings, I feel, because a lot of these guys are going to fire, but I do think there are a few traps. Like Dominic Young too, I think, there's just a lot of question marks. I think you got to take a risk with a few, but Montoya, I'll just watch over the opening rounds. And Trials.
Montoya, 2 tries and 4 line breaks on the weekend against the Melbourne Storm. So, I mean, I promised myself when I got him in yesterday that I'm not going to say anything on the podcast, and I'm just going to surprise the fuck out of everyone when round 1, bloody Savs has Montoya in his side, but I've probably gone early on the Crow, and he's probably going to be out of my side before round 1 because I'm going to get talked out of it, surely.
I think you need to trust your gut. If it's a gut feeling, you need to go with it. But look, it's not something you can get terribly wrong. It's a 300 and something K.
Yeah.
It's a winger. It's not a massive decision, man. You know what I mean? So I think you could have a little pod and have a little go of him. He'll go all right.
Yep.
He seems big enough to take the runs. He's busy, so.
Yeah, Mikey?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think you can only afford to have maybe 3 guys around that price point. So the way I look at it is just, I think there are 3 better guys than him to start. And that's, realistically, for me, it's between him or Coates. And I think I prefer Coates based on the side he's playing at.
Yeah. I mean...
every team's different.
I mean, I do agree, but,
How's about Gay Guy's brother? How much he looked like Gay Guy? Ridiculous.
It's a typical Savs move. For the Warriors this weekend, they've got Viliami Valai named on the wing at 205,000. Do you know much about him, Mikey?
I'll have to rush him into the Viliami, I think.
No, I don't. Yeah, sounds perfect for you to me, but no, I don't know too much about him, but I doubt he'll be there round 1. We don't know. A lot of surprising things can happen, but I feel like they've got a lot of options in the back line, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. But there's a lot of watches this week. As you said earlier, Sav, this week of trials is very important because we're seeing closer to full strength sides printing your injured and suspended guys.
Yep. Tim, Kurt Mann named at lock this weekend. Centre wing and 5'8" eligibility. Are you interested at all?
Not interested in Kurt Mann for Supercoach for me. Yeah, no, not for me.
Mikey?
I don't hate him in the centre wing, but sorry, I know this sounds really boring, but it's the same thing. It's another wait and see because I want to see what his minute outlay is going to be like. Will he jump out of lock and fill in at hook? Like, you don't know where he's going to fill in. He can fill in anywhere. So Kurt Mann always has these games where he can score around 80 in Supercoach every now and then. He's got those games in him. But I'm just interested to see what their forward rotation is going to be like with the likes of Barnett, Clemmer, who potentially could both be on the bench, the Saifidi. But like, it's going to be interesting. So I'd like to see how that rotation works first.
Timmy, Ryan Madison named at lock this weekend. What do you think of him at 569,000? He's 200k discount on Fafita, 100k discount on Crichton. He could be your premium second rower at a 200k discount from the premium option. What do you think of him at lock? Personally, I mean, I'm not sure how I feel. I feel like I'm less hesitant than
I'd rather him on an edge.
I feel like I'm less hesitant than most people are because I feel like he can really excel there.
He might be quite busy, you know what I mean? And it could work out okay, but I don't know. I just like him with a bit of space and doing these little offloads and stuff like that. But, yeah, I feel like for me, Madison's one of those guys you don't start with. You end up getting him later in the year, closer to buys and stuff. Yeah, I feel like he's... Yeah, I don't know that he's a starter. I just think there's so many better options around that price. Yeah.
Mikey, Maddo?
Yeah. Wait and see. I didn't mind Maddo, but I personally would prefer to go a pod route, and someone that I had for a while but recently pulled out was Ola Kalatu. I'd prefer to save a bit of cash and maybe hit a pod like him, or like yourself, Sabs, go Setilis Tupanua. So, yeah, I don't hate the Maddo call. It's a nice kind of price for him. But, yeah, I just see a lot more valuable options below him where you can inject that cash elsewhere.
I guess sticking on the second row, again, there's so many second row talk. Ethan Bullimore is named at second row this week. Had a good trial on the weekend against the Tigers. What do you think of him? Has he locked into a lot of Supercoach sides just by getting named?
I think so. He's in my side based off that performance. He's in my front row because if he can start, even if he starts off the bench, I think I'll consider starting him in the front row because we've seen how hard he worked, and I loved how he was running the ball and just he was really busy. And at 280k, I really hope that he can start. But I obviously think Carl Lawton, there'll be a battle between them this week. Carl Lawton could potentially start, who is also another nice mid-ranger pick that you got to consider, but. I'm hoping it's Bullimore because I'd love to carry Bullimore on the reserve bench, and there's another front row option. I think it's all about having coverage and options.
It doesn't look like Davey is...
not in the mix?
Is he not ready, or is he just not getting picked?
I think he's behind both of those blokes. Like, you know, that's just what it seems to look like. Yeah. And his body, he always seems to pick up a bit of an injury where I think Des might go Carl Lawton, who did a job there last year, or if he's very impressed by this young kid that he brought over from the Broncos, he might give him a go. And if he is, that's excellent to solve one piece of the puzzle in the front row position, because I think coverage there is important.
Yeah, Schuster is out. 6 weeks. Yep, for 6 weeks.
For 6 weeks.
What happened with that?
That's why...
Knee.
There was knee, yeah.
There was someone that you didn't know was out that was in your side. Who was it?
Oh, I can't remember. You have to.
Who was in your side that you didn't know was out? Oh, McInnes? No, McInnes is out. He's out for the first, I think, 5 rounds now.
Breaking news.
Yep. Breaking news.
Yeah, the first month because he redid. There's another injury issue.
Yep.
Which it was kind of kept under wraps. So only finding out now, I guess that helps a bit of the dilemma. I know a lot of people go on a cheaper hooker and running him as their main guy, but. I guess that will make it a bit harder to judge how the Sharks are going to rotate their forwards. But I assume a lot of other guys like Graham and that could be a bit of winners now because there'll be a bit more minutes to go around in the forward pack.
Okay, so the guy...
I know who it is. I know it is.
Luke Keary.
Luke Keary.
Yeah, I've been keen on him. I didn't know he was out.
So that's perfect because he is on my list as well. Manu was named at 5'8" this week, and it looks like Manu's going to start at 5'8" while Luke Keary is out. Timmy, Manu was a big reason why you won last year. What do you think of him roaming at 5'8", playing at 5'8" for the first few weeks? And would you be happy to hold on after he shifts to the centre?
Probably, yeah. I think he's handy. I've got a feeling that they're going to really utilise him a lot this year because I feel like, he could have gone elsewhere. He could have gone to rugby union, I think, as well, was a big deal for him. But... Look, the reason I bought him last year is I had a really sneaky suspicion that he would go to 5'8" and replace Hutchison. I thought he would, that Robbo, and then the week after I heard that Robbo go, I've got a lot of faith in Hutcho, and I'm like, no, it's not working out for what I'm thinking.
Yep.
But he still killed it. But yeah, in 5'8", just a lot more touches, man, and I think that's a really nice one. You're paying a little. I think it's at the right price, 500 and something. He's not massively overs, but it's a kind of a nice premium CWT. If you don't want to spend like or Garrick money.
Yeah, Mikey. Obviously, Manu. The kicker is he's available at fullback as well, so there's no chance he can pick up that dual eligibility by round 6 in the 5'8" area. But Manu, you think he's an alright option?
Not to start. I think he'll be a viable option through the year and be a bit of a pod, but it'll make an interesting one if you're right and he does start at 5'8". It'll make it hard to judge to which mid-rangers to pick up in the centre wing because, both Nguama and Billy Smith, if he starts, could be an option, but it'll be interesting. Like, it'll be hard to pick which one's going to drop out depending on the starting 5 they pick. But, and Suwali to come back, it's going to be a bit of a headache because I think you definitely want to pick that cheaper Rooster player in the back line, but it's just going to be which one and who's going to hold their spot.
Very good.
Can I bring up a person?
Yes. Can I just, while we're talking about the Roosters, are you talking about the Roosters?
No.
Okay, while we're talking about the Roosters, before we move on, looks like Momorowski is not kicking goals, so Sam Walker is looking like the guy who might kick goals. Any interest in him? I feel like he's someone that hasn't been talked about much this preseason, and because it's his second year, people are just trying to avoid the second year syndrome. But he is a special talent. He could be someone that everyone rushes to get in their side by round 6. What do you think of Sam Walker, Mikey?
Yeah, he's someone that I picked him up in my draft side, and I'm very keen to have him there. I think he could go to another level, and maybe picking him compared to Toby Sexton and all that, if you want a mid-range half, he could be a man because he's in a Roosters side that we're all predicting to go extremely well. One thing to note is if Adam Kieran could jag a centre spot, he's starting centre this week, he could kick goals for the first couple of rounds. So I wouldn't just pick him, to kick goals early on. Is another one that I'd be a bit reluctant to start with. I'd rather take, a cheaper option or a gun. But he could definitely be an option at some point. He's got a high ceiling himself.
I think a lot of these kind of pod players are definitely, a lot are wait and sees, but the thing that's going to get you in front is taking the punt on these kind of players.
And it working, yeah.
And it working. But I feel like you've probably heard that I've got a lot of pods in my side. That it's a good chance that doesn't work out because if one player does work out, then the other might not, and that'll just even me out and I'll be behind because that next week the most popular player gets a massive score that I haven't got in my side. So I think these sort of players, you've got to consider taking a punt on at least one or two of them. Timmy, you had a player you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Jack Howarth at the Storm, the cheapie there. I've got him in the second row, yeah. He was playing in the centres, and he looked a lot different. I watched his junior highlights. He looked like a real big, rangy guy, just bullying the junior, grade. And then he looked like a normal-sized body.
There is massive raps on Jack Howarth with Felice Kafusi and Kenny Bromwich leaving the club next year. They're going to want to get game time into him. So, I mean, Mikey...
$500K a year they got him on for the next 5 years.
$500K deal, so I don't know whether that means, who knows. But... Mikey, the Melbourne Storm they're known for moulding players into superstars. We know Jack Howarth is going to get time this year if he doesn't get injured because he's going to be the starting second rower or possibly centre next year. But I think second rower. Would you hold him in your side to start the year knowing he's going to get a go later in the year? Or is it just too risky with the COVID rules and all the concussions and things like that?
we've seen it work before, Savs, that strategy where you hold a guy and then end up getting a game. But, yeah, I think, just as you mentioned, I don't want to do that this year. I personally want 25 people playing and hopefully pick 25 players pending injury and that will keep playing from the start. Yeah, especially if there's enough options. If you really drive some players and you really needed a bottom dollar cheap in, you may look to him, but I couldn't see myself doing it. I think there'll be enough options where you can just have to downgrade someone else to like pump up to someone like the Tigers and like Tuolangi and that. So
it might be a bit like a Sean
I think
Ball
that's going to be an option.
So
yeah, like he'll be an option later on when I think you'll need those guys later on. But from the start, I think you need to pick 25 good players and give yourself a bit of variety in options.
So if he is named on the bench in round 1, would you consider him and take the possible auto emergency nightmare? I feel like he's probably not going to be. I don't think he's going to be an auto emergency nightmare either, because I feel like they're going to play him for more than 5 minutes. Whether it's 15 to 20, that's only going to get more as time goes on. Mikey?
Yeah, don't forget with the Storm side, you got Harry Grant and Brandon Smith to come in at round 2. So same if Tepa Amarola gets named, I don't think I'll go anywhere near him because you've got to try and pick out of that what they're going to do. Are they going to start Brandon Smith at lock? Are they going to be on the bench? We don't know. We're assuming that they probably start Harry Grant and put Brandon Smith to lock, but then does that mean Nelson goes into front row or does he go back to the bench? See, another headache. Picking where he could go. So even if Jack Howe's named, he might not be there in round 2.
I'm getting really excited and really nervous. I just had a massive rush of emotions come over me. We're getting close.
Oh, it feels close. It's only, 2 weeks ago today?
Very close.
2 weeks to go today. Okay, Mikey, you know how we were talking about a possible live stream from down here, but I don't want to cart the equipment across. Tim, I reckon we're going to go into the ground and go around. Just go around, talk to people.
Let's have a chat to the people.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's meet the people. Let's meet the public. Get amongst the public.
And I'm sure, Mikey's 100% going the game. We'll try and print out some fake Fox League media passes and try and meet Tommy Turbo. What do you reckon?
No, we're not those type of people, man. I'm a pretty big deal in the SuperCoach community now, mate. I'll get us some passes, mate. Don't worry about that.
Mikey, James Roberts named at centre this weekend. Tyrone Peachy gave us a lovely message saying he reckons Jimmy the Jet is on fire this preseason, training the house down, as they say. Jimmy the Jet at 270, is he an option or is there just too much in the centre wing?
I think there's too much at the centre wing and he could be an option, but I'm not too keen on the Tigers. I really want to see how they go. I'm not really keen on Gildart either. The only one I'm keen on is Key in their back line, other than Hastings, or purely because he's bottom dollar in Key, that is. But, yeah, look, we know what Jimmy the Jet can do, but we also know he's lazy. So we can't just trust Tyrone Peachy. We need a steep performance, and he'd be a kind of guy I'd be getting on at a really low break even and get him in before the big price rise.
I don't think I'll touch Jimmy this year.
Yeah, I don't think I will either. But at the same time, like Sav said earlier, you've got to take risks and start with some of these guys. You can't just wait and see on all of them. But, yeah, I think there are so many other better options in the centre wing.
All right. Have we got anything else, guys? We've pretty much... It's been a really good podcast.
Yeah, it's been good. Maybe just the one quick thing. Nathan Cleary. We haven't touched on him much.
Yep.
Just quickly, Savs and then Tim, have you got him in your side right now?
Oh, yeah.
I do not.
I've got the big C on him already.
I don't.
Suffering from frequent bouts of bet limititis?
Try TopSport, the bookmaker that isn't scared to take a bet. Other providers may significantly limit your bets, causing frustration and angst. TopSport clears that blockage by welcoming big and winning punters, giving you fast, effective relief on those bigger bets. Overcome bet limititis by downloading the TopSport app today. Brought to you by TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, nice.
Wait, you captain
I got the
on
big
straight
VC
up.
on him.
Straight up, round 1.
Straight up, mate.
Jesus.
Straight up.
No, he's not in my side at the moment.
Straight up against Manly, mate. You're going to get pumped.
I have a lot of rogue options. I've got Toby Sexton at my halfback at the moment. I have a lot of mid-rangers everywhere. I downgraded Payne Haas to Fanua Blake. I mean, I have a lot of Warriors. I've got to change it. I've got to balance my side better. But
I like AFB.
I think he's looking good. He's one of the ones one of the Warriors I probably should keep, to be honest. Mikey Stefano, what do you think of him on the weekend? And do you think underwhelming? Like, I know it's a trial, but is he someone that is going to warm into the season again?
I think he needs a haircut. It looks like he hasn't had a haircut for about, I don't know, maybe like two months. Like, he's got a shave sort of thing going. He needs a haircut. If he had a nice smick haircut, he'd play a lot better. I reckon that there's a lot to the haircut. So I think that may be all it is. Come round one, he will have a fresh haircut and he'll be playing great.
It's just like the Munster mustache.
Munster's hair needs a bit of attention too.
Have you seen the mustache theory? He's won a comp every year. He's had a mustache for the whole season.
Yeah, right. So he's got the stash out this year?
And he's got the stash this year, so...
Okay. He needs to fix his hair, though. That just looks unkept.
Nah, I rate it. Mikey Stefano, underwhelming?
I did have him in my side, but yeah, I pumped him out of my side just because I thought he was a little bit underwhelming. I don't think you should judge it on that, but my main concern is the makeup of the Tigers forward bench and the rotations and his minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do think he could develop into a Payne Haas type of forward and be an option at some point in the year, especially around the Origin time if he's not around that squad. Knowing what Brad Fittler's like, he'll rush him in earlier than he should.
So, Mikey, do you like Jai
Arrow? On my radar.
Do you like Jai Arrow at the same price ahead of him?
I do like Jai Arrow.
Yeah.
I do like Jai Arrow. I know a lot of people think he's a bit of a plotter and that he won't be too good and he's a bit of a trap, but I've always been a huge fan of Jai Arrow's SuperCoach games, and I think new coach, Bennett's gone, starting second row, I'll take that gamble because although everyone thinks he doesn't have that attacking upside, he doesn't need that attacking upside. I'm happy to buy him at that price.
I feel like he does have a bit of attacking upside.
From the bunnies, he can.
He does.
He's got a bit, but he might not have. He's a real big boy.
Yeah.
The edge might suit him a lot better. So yeah, I'm all over Jai Arrow. If I could supply the funds, newsflash, I don't have Payne Haas. I think there is a lot of value in the front row not to start with Payne Haas. And yeah, all these moves are so I can keep Cleary and have a strong side around him.
Yeah, I've got Haas at the moment, but I don't know.
I actually don't think Payne Haas is a must-have. I mean...
no, he's the best in that position. 100% I agree with that.
100%.
You can get to him. It's not going to be that hard to get to him compared to getting to someone like Cleary or Fafita. They will be hard to get to.
100%. And they could go up, whereas Payne Haas, yeah, he might go up, but he's not going to go up drastically. And
Payne Haas will get to 700k by the time you want to buy him.
Maybe,
that's
but
he's
only going to get like 10, 15 more points than the person you get. And then you're going to get 30, 40 more points by getting a premium half in your side. Don't you reckon?
Yep. There's so many.
I agree with you there, Sabs. Yeah. Look, the Broncos, I think they'll be a bit more of a attacking side this year. Like, I think they'll be good this year, but we did see on the weekend a bit of their laps and stuff. We'll get a bit of judgment early, but I think you could go value options like you said before, Tim. AFB, I really like AFB. If Bullimore starts in second row, you could go him. There's a lot of options popping up in the front row where it looked like we weren't going to get any.
There is a lot of options, and guys, we did a Daily Telegraph column. Thank you, Tim, for putting that together for us.
No worries, man.
Shout out to Tommy.
Shout out to
Tommy for that too.
Tommy Sangster. He really got on board with us and really got on board with our picks. You did put Jai Arrow in, Mikey. Was there any other rogue ones that you put in there that you just want to mention before we go?
I put in a lot of rogue ones. I based I looked back at what you did because none of us saw what everyone else was right. I didn't. And you guys put in a lot of cheapies. I stayed away from the cheapies where I said, I'm also looked at it as a gun strategy because I think all the cheapies are going to be highly owned.
Yep.
So, maybe I think, I can't remember too many rogue ones, but that one you mentioned there was probably one of my most rogue. I had Tyrell Sloan in the centre wing. Maybe Luai could be a bit of a rogue one. But yeah, I just kind of tried to look at it a little differently. But obviously, from when we wrote that article, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you got me to write my story right now, it'd be very different. Like, I'd have Madison out of there.
I've got some exciting news I want to announce as well. It's not overly exciting, but it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to be giving away 5 subscriptions to the Daily Telegraph, so you don't have to pay the $1 a day thing. We're going to be giving,
we're going to be giving
the SuperCoach Experience. We're going to be giving away 5 of those.
Jesus.
Yep. It's pretty
That's a good prize.
So how does this happen? How does this happen, Timmy?
I just got word of it today. I'll find out a bit more about it later, but it's something that we're going to be doing through the podcast, and we'll be giving them away.
Oh, very good.
5 of them.
We've got some good content coming next week, so we'll have the podcast later in the week. Me and Timmy are going on the SuperCoach. The SuperCoach.
Official launch.
The official launch of SuperCoach is starting at Penrith Panthers here, where we are now. And Timmy, tell us a bit about that. Who's going to be on it? Where are we going?
So there's going to be a bit of a bus. We're going to be picking up Greg Inglis at Parramatta. I don't know why he's jumping on a para, but maybe he's got some business there. There's going to be Steve Menzies. There's going to be Greg Alexander. There's going to be Corey Parker. Tommy Sangster will be there.
Very good.
And yeah, look, like I understand, it's just going to be a massive bit of fun. We're going to be on the bus, bit of shenanigans.
How good.
See what happens. I guess it's to see what happens.
Well, I guess we're going to bring the camera and try and get the hottest tips off whoever we can.
Maybe a race with Greg Inglis. I wanted to get a race with...
Oh, yes.
I wanted to race Tommy Turbo, but... Tommy's backed out. Yeah, no, he doesn't want to race me. He's heard, because I've smoked Harry once before. I used to do little athletics with Harry, and I caned him. But, yeah, no, I'll try to get a race with the Goanna.
Mikey, you can't get the day off, and we can get you on as well?
I potentially could go, yeah. I'm on night shift, so depending on the time, well, I could. If you can get me in, I'd love to come along.
We've got to get Timmy to pull some strings, eh?
Just going to keep bringing one more person in.
Maybe what Tommy Sangster was asking for a SuperCoach couple. Maybe you could bring Ashley with you. And
now I'm doing a +3. No, he's not bringing you're not bringing your missus, mate.
No, look,
you can just rock up. We'll try to get the bus.
Yeah. Let's not go that far.
I'll put you into my duffel bag or something and pull you out just halfway through the bus ride. I'll just make it look like you're some equipment in a bag in one of Sav's black bags.
Either way, guys, stay tuned, and I'm sure we'll tell you how you can win those subscriptions. And yeah, you'll get an update on the day out with the SuperCoach guys.
Crazy. Good stuff, Tom Sangster. Really coming through for the boys.
He's a man of the people.
He's a man of the people. Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you for coming on, Mikey. I mean, we had a few technical difficulties, as always, before the episode started, and we nearly pulled the pin. But you know what? I'm glad we didn't. It was good content. And Mikey, Jesus, MVP today.
Look, mate, it was just good to get back on and chat some SuperCoach. So, come along good. Hope you guys liked it, and good luck with the trials this week, and hopefully everyone's players stay fit and healthy.
Can I get the encouragement award or something?
Yeah, you can get...
Just handing out awards to Mikey, and I'm the only other person here, and you make me feel like a big...
you can tell he was itching for it. You could tell he was itching for it. He was like, when I suggested, maybe we'll just have you on next week, and he was like, no, I've got so much to say.
Because I haven't been on for so much weeks, man. I needed to blow my trap as everyone.
I feel like whenever you can come on, we'll just cater for it.
Holy Grail this year too, guys. The Holy Grail, there's a big trophy as well instead of the 50K.
Oh, what? Instead of?
No, not instead. I mean, as well as.
With the 50K, yeah.
It looks
apparently
good.
It's worth about 10 grand, this trophy.
That looks mad. Are you salty?
Salty? Bloody no, I'm going to win that thing. Because the Holy Grail is only designed for someone who wins it twice.
Oh, right.
And if someone can beat me, then they can have it.
Yeah,
but I'm coming for it, bro. I'm coming for it.
Mikey, before we go, who do you think, rate all four of us on who you think is going to rank highest this year to lowest?
Well, that's a tough one. I'm going to toot my own horn here, but I feel a good season coming on. I think I'm going to finish number one. I'm going to give... See, everyone's on Jake, but I think Jake's crowed too early with his form. I'm going to go Tim, Sabs, Jake.
Yeah.
Because the way I judge it, Sabs, I've got a quick stat for you. The past 5 years, each year, me and Sabs have rotated in who's ranked better. So last year, Sabs ranked better. The year before that was me. And this year, I'm due ahead of Sabs. That's been going on for 5 to 6 years, and that's legit.
It really has. Wow.
Yeah, so it's my year, and I ranked my year to overclip you. I could be third, and go Tim.
We have to go back to this at the end of the season and see who was right, yeah? Here's my order. Me, number one. Number two, I'm going to back you, Mikey. I've got a good feeling about you this year.
Yeah, so do I, actually.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, and sorry, Jakey boy, I'm going to go Savs. But
Jesus Christ. He's going to hate it.
I think there's a few demons from last year, and I think if you can just improve and, make the top 1,000. I've got Brandon coming about 200th. I've got
Jesus, are we all ranking that high?
He's
making the top 100.
He's putting us up a lot high.
Yeah, see, I feel a top 250 from Mikey this year. I'm feeling that.
Look, mate, I'm coming back for those demons of being in 13th place after seeing my boy Timmy go all the way. I think I've got enough ranks if I get in that position to go a little further this year.
Well, you've seen what he did at that point. You kind of felt...
I didn't do that.
Yeah, you didn't do that. So we know what it takes to win now, and we're in the box seat watching it.
I'm laying complete claims to the Holy Grail, just so you know. That is mine to lose.
Guys, okay, let's leave Tim out of this.
Wait, Sabs, Sabs, what's your ranking? You never said.
I haven't ranked in the top 1,000 since the multiple buys have been scratched. So I think I'm a top 750. I'm thinking this year, hopefully.
And what's your rankings of the four of us? You never ranked us.
Oh, sorry. I think Mikey, Savs, Tim, Jake.
Ooh. Everyone's gone, maybe is it because Jake's not in the podcast?
Oh, you know what? I'm sick of everyone getting behind Mikey. Mikey, fuck you, man. I'm putting you back in the fourth.
No, we're pumping up his horn, so later in the year we can just be like, hey, yeah, you were wrong.
Listen, I'm getting the captain.
I don't want to be the favourite.
I'm the captain.
I don't want to be the favourite.
And before we go, one more. Mikey, who in the SuperCoach community do you think is going to rank the highest? So everyone, Turbo Hammy's Cup, everyone.
Okay, I'm going to go the Spy. The Spy again? If I don't win this year, it'll be the Spy. How confident am I?
Cool.
I'm pretty confident.
I'm going to say me.
I won't be surprised. I think...
look, I'm being a little cocky here, but no, I agree with you.
This is the time you got to get cocky. It's pre-season. We're all on equal points at the moment.
I think it's someone like Spy, or I think also someone that's always hanging around there is someone like Ado. I think Ado's always
Timmy Williams.
Well, so... Timmy Williams too. He's destined to win the game at some point.
Tim Williams,
it could be him.
He brought out a new podcast with the Rugby League Guru. Really good. Have a listen to it. It's like it's revolutionary for SuperCoach. Like it's a great SuperCoach podcast. Go and listen to it. It's in the Bloke Studios as well, which is amazing. I personally think, who was that guy? I don't know. Let's just leave it. I'll think about it and do it next week. I was going to say someone like Spy or Tim, but not them.
Like Dez from their show?
Nah, not Dez.
Dez ain't going there again, mate.
Not Dez. Someone, they're clean. They're not dirty like us. They do a clean...
What do you mean they're clean?
I don't know.
Why are we dirty?
I think... What's his name on the Whisperer podcast? Brew. I reckon he'll do well this year.
I think you're just sucking up to Brew.
Well. Good old Glenn.
Huh?
He did all right last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he'll do not that well this year.
No, he'll probably do well again. I think people...
I think so. Anyway, let's go, guys. I'm sure Mikey's itching to go eat before he goes to work.
What were you putting the Whisperer at?
Probably... he'll probably improve and come 25,000th.
Nah, he did better than that last year, mate. He was, whoa.
Look, I'm going to say, I definitely think this year, look at all the format of the guys in the SD Hub when we played BBL. I think a lot of the guys will be up there like last year. There will be a battle again. We had like 10 of the guys come in the top 1,000 with BBL, and I think the NRL will be really close too. Even one of the SuperCoach 365 guys, I don't mind the look of some of their sides. They could be a smoky too. But yeah, good luck to everyone as usual. Yeah. And I think we're rambling on here, so let's
very good.
Finish it up.
If you listen this long, I appreciate you, and we'll see you next week after the SuperCoach launch, and hopefully we'll see you, Mikey. If not, we'll definitely have you on for team lists.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Very good. See you later, guys.
Keep up the good work.
I've got a news break, but I will not be available for that podcast. I'm in Melbourne.
I've been
fine.
Tim Moody.
Break it to you after,
Thank you
but
for watching. I've just seen the news reporters. They like, when they say I've been, like,
Okay. See you later, guys.